Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We're here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. And I'm Keeney and I'm joined this week by Fisher.
Hello, guys.
So we'll just run through the week in WWE Raw and SmackDown. We'll start with some news, but just to give you guys a heads up, over kind of the Christmas period, instead of these weekly reviews, we're probably going to look at doing a few specials. So if there's anything you want us to kind of talk about, or any sort of, I don't know, fantasy book and anything like that, just let us know. And we're kind of open. We got a few ideas ourselves, but yeah, keep an eye out for our specials. There'll be a few different podcasts, kind of
we
different
want to mix it up a
formats.
bit with not just doing weekly reviews, especially this time of year. The content isn't as good in wrestling anyway. I don't think people are as interested, so I think it's a good time to experiment with different things. Also, we'll do an end of the year review. We did that last year. For sure, we might do a quiz. We might do, like, say, fantasy booking or some sort of list thing. We've got plenty of ideas, all original, of course.
Yep.
Exactly. But yeah, no, we'll be definitely doing some different content. So keep your eyes open and ears open for that over the next few weeks, over the Christmas period. If you've got time off work and you want a podcast to listen to, hopefully we'll have some good content out there for you. But
yeah,
let's
get into this week. Yeah, and go on, Fisher. You're the news.
Well, it's the first time we've had really a news segment in a while. We haven't had. It's been quiet the last month or two compared to, like, a while back where it was every week. It felt like it was a huge news story. But yeah, Mandy Rose is obviously the massive news story from the week. Last weekend it started with some leaked stuff online. It's a tough situation. I did not expect her to lose her job over it, but I didn't realize that this kind of stuff was breaching contracts and stuff like that. But there were some DMs she said shared with people and stuff like that. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I thought nothing of it really. I thought, maybe they'll, there was a lot of talk online that maybe Mandy might drop the title at Vengeance Day, because obviously that's the pay-per-view coming up, I think in February, and I think that would have been, that would have made sense anyway, with Roxanne winning the Iron Survivor Challenge at the pay-per-view, and she already lost being a challenger once, I think, and Mandy's been champion for so long, they should probably go up to the main roster. I thought, it all makes sense to do that anyway, and then if they rush this through, then that's fine. And then obviously we get the start of NXT on Tuesday, and the first segment sets up the main event of Roxanne versus Mandy on that show, and I was a bit like, okay, right, Mandy's dropping the title tonight. They something's going on here, and it's obvious Roxanne was going to win, because I thought, well, they've moved the match forward for a reason, and it's got to be to do with that. And then, I don't know about you, but when I saw Mandy Rose come out to the ring, she did not look her normal self at all.
It's interesting. I personally didn't think that, but then I actually didn't know all of this stuff prior
to it.
Prior to NXT,
I was kind of looking at her reaction when she came out.
I go into it blind, so
even Roxanne's reaction, to be honest.
Yeah, I also thought Roxanne is probably winning the title here. Not knowing what had happened with Mandy, I just thought it kind of made sense for Roxanne, the reasons you gave. But yeah, I noticed nothing different from Mandy as someone
I just thought
who didn't know
her demeanor, her look on her face, everything about it. And then obviously the match, she loses the title very convincingly. Gets beaten just by like one Pop Rocks. The match was okay, but it wasn't even particularly long. She comes out on her own. There's no Toxic Attraction involvement. All of that quite strange. And then there was a clip online that people had posted who were at the show afterwards, and she looked really upset after the show. She blew a kiss to the crowd, and everyone was shouting, "Thank you, Mandy." And a lot of the time, that's just what they do on an NXT send-off. Now, when I saw all of this happen, I thought, right, well, what's going to happen is she'll have some time off because of what's happened. Maybe she asked for some time off. Maybe they've suggested she take some time off or whatever. They'll take her off TV on NXT. They'll probably take off Toxic Attraction off. I know they've got a match next week, haven't they, for the tag titles? They'll probably lose that anyway. They'll all go off TV for a few weeks, and then at the Royal Rumble, they'll come back and enter the Royal Rumble and get called up to the main roster. That's what I thought would happen. I wasn't expecting the next day Mandy Rose has been released And from her reaction, then when I saw her reaction on NXT from the night before, I thought, did she know this was coming because of the way she kind of was on the show?
I think that's the interesting question is, did she go into that match knowing that was her last match?
Yeah.
Or did they? Because I guess if you're being a ruthless business point of view, you don't tell her till after, because you don't want her to put in a half-assed performance knowing she's going to get fired. So you maybe don't tell her till, but then on a human level, you do tell her before. So yeah, I don't know which way around they would have done it. It maybe from what you've said there, they probably told her before.
Well, I think she knew it was. I don't know if they necessarily told her that she was being fired, but I think they obviously probably made the decision, and I reckon they must have spoke to her. They obviously told her that she was dropping the title anyway, because you have to book the match.
Yeah.
And then when they were discussing it, they obviously told her why. And I'm assuming, because the rumor is that she had said she had no intention of stopping posting stuff online and all this kind of stuff, which is why they had to make the decision to fire her. Now, from what I've heard as well, there were sponsorships involved. Apparently, I saw one person online saying that Mattel, obviously they make wrestling figures and toys for kids.
Yeah.
They were, it's in their contracts that WWE superstars can't post nude photos and things like that online because it's a kid, and things. So I believe she breached some sort of contracts that are affecting sponsorship, which is why they've made a decision. I understand it from a business standpoint.
That makes sense. That does make sense.
But at the same time, it does feel a bit harsh. But then if she refuses to stop doing it, and I actually can see Mandy's side as well on this, because at the end of the day, WWE can't tell her shouldn't be telling her what she can and can't do with that kind of stuff.
No,
and from what we've heard as well, Mandy's making more money than she makes from WWE by doing this, and the reason she said no is because she's going to make a bloody killing, as you can imagine, because if she's not in WWE, she can do more stuff, and she's going to make a lot of money out of it, and I'm sure she won't really care. I don't think she has that same passion for wrestling that a lot of people do, so I don't think it would bother her that much.
Yeah, although I would say this last year she's really seemed a bit more into it than she ever has done before. I know she's champion, but
I think she's done a brilliant job, but I do think it was always kind of a job to her. She's not, I don't think she was the kind of person who grew up like,
she's not like Roxanne.
Roxanne's exactly the opposite. She grew up a massive wrestling fan, whereas Mandy was kind of, a bikini contest model and that kind of stuff, a reality star, got into it through other means, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I'm just saying, I don't think she is thinking now, okay, what do I do next wrestling wise? I don't think she's going to be thinking, right, AEW, I need to get on the phone or anything like that. I think she's going to be thinking her career goes down a different path, and she'll probably do amazing out of it. So from both sides of it, I can see why Mandy wouldn't want to stop, but I do understand WWE's standpoint if it affects sponsorship. But I do think it's a little bit hypocritical from WWE in some ways, because we've seen how they present Toxic Attraction on TV. We've seen them,
and
do things with Playboy and things in the past.
Yeah,
I know that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, WWE's history of that is terrible. But I mean, there's also the current scenario with Matt Riddle, who is been suspended, he's taken off TV for a while.
He's basically been sent to rehab.
Sent to rehab for drug addiction. And there's obviously the moral dilemma is doing what Mandy Rose did worse than Matt Riddle. Yes. It is if it breaches a contract. Like it's a simple thing. They would have taken into a room and they would have said, if you want to do this, it's breaching contract. It's down to you. If you carry on doing it, we have to let you go.
Well, that's basically what I think happened.
It's your choice. So,
I think they basically, I don't think they just blindsided them and said, look, we're not happy. You're gone. I reckon they must have had a conversation. And said,
they surely,
you've got to take this stuff down. And if she refuses to take it down, then again, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a U-turn on this in 3, 4, 5 months time. We've seen it before with Zelina Vega with her Twitch stream and stuff. Yeah. When she got released over that, and then she came back down the line. She made a deal. She worked her way around it. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, because I think they do like Mandy. I mean, Shawn Michaels made her champion for 400 days. Like, they obviously
she is really good.
Traction was a great group, and I feel a little bit sorry. We'll talk about Gigi and JC out of this as well, because where does it leave them? But
I think what the obvious thing to do is get them on the main roster and get them paired up with Sonya Deville.
I didn't
because
I didn't think of that, but I saw someone else.
There was an episode of NXT, wasn't there, where Sonya came down and she was like kind of leader of Toxic Attraction for a week, and it kind of fitted, maybe almost better than Mandy Rose did. It just kind of worked quite well. And I thought maybe they might actually add Sonya to Toxic Attraction, and there might be like a Sonya v Mandy for the head of Toxic Attraction. I thought they could have gone down that route with them. So for me, I think Toxic Attraction have done everything on NXT.
Like, they got to go up to the main roster.
They can't keep having
whether it's
title
alone
matches. Yeah, get them on the main roster full time. The main roster needs more tag teams.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say.
And Sonya, I think, is a perfect leader for them. Just keep them the same presentation, just with Sonya instead of Mandy.
Well, there'll be a slightly different vibe with Sonya, really, anyway, wouldn't it? Because Sonya's not going to be like Mandy, where she's showing off and dancing.
No, okay, so you kind of
Toxic Attraction can still be.
But I think Toxic Attraction's main thing is they're mean girls, and Sonya Deville is quite good at being a mean girl. So I think it does work.
And she has a relationship with Mandy, so it would make sense of.
And I think
Mandy
she kind of
asked me to look after you, kind of thing.
And we've seen Sonya with being GM. She suits being a leader as well. So I think it's the obvious.
It's not a bad shout, and I do think also Sonya Deville's quite frustrated. I saw her tweeting the other day said, "I just want to wrestle," so it gives her something to do as well. Yeah, because I feel like she's not doing much at all on SmackDown now. She's lost the GM kind of role she had. She had a period where she was having a few matches. Obviously, she had that moment on NXT, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, she had a little
the last month or two, she hasn't really done a lot.
No.
Well, yeah, since the Live stuff. So it will give her more of a purpose. Yeah. So it could be very interesting.
That's what I think you do with them. Because my initial thought was, oh my God, what are they going to do with these two now? Yeah. But, they were still on the show. Like I say, they've got a match next week.
I don't think they're going to get fired or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
They're not pushed to the side. But
well, look at Wesley in NXT, and he was in half of a tag team. That's worse.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got your tag partner, and he's done fine. So I think as long as you don't react badly to it and you're good at your job and all that, I don't think it really affects your push too much. I think they'll just be fine. I think they'll be just fine, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
But again, it's not really, we can't talk too much about it until we know the full story. It's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it's just a watch the space, isn't it? As most of these stories are that we talk about. It's hard to speculate.
We don't know
too
all the
much.
Facts. Yeah.
No. But we do know all the facts of SmackDown, so we can get into the results from SmackDown. And I just want to start with really the main talking point from SmackDown, Kurt Angle. His birthday celebration, a few skits backstage.
I like the stuff with Jason Jordan.
Yeah, with Jason Jordan giving him the number one dad card.
But at least they're keeping that in. I like that.
It's just funny, isn't it? And also Gable Steveson, I think, is probably the first talking point. Very prominent on this show with Kurt Angle. We haven't seen him since Mania, and even before that, we haven't seen him at all. So he is someone they've not put on TV for whatever reason. I assume he has other stuff going on. Maybe he's just not ready for TV. Interesting, his brother's in NXT, so you'd think that would be the obvious place to put him. But they did draft him to Raw.
Yeah, that was a bizarre decision.
Yeah, and they're not put him on TV. So he must have been. There must be something going on with Gable Steveson. I don't know what it is.
He was still doing his athletic stuff at that point. But I believe that's all done now. And they did mention that he's in the Performance Center on this show. So I think he's just working in NXT, but he's not on TV yet. But I expect him soon I would just tag team him up with his brother. It makes total sense to me.
Yeah, that does make sense. But he was involved here backstage with Kurt Angle, which is quite a big spot for someone who's not been on TV really to be with Kurt Angle. And they had the perfect heel foils in Alpha Academy.
Perfect.
Who weren't invited to the party.
I think Alpha Academy are like the unsung heroes of WWE in 2022, honestly.
Yeah,
I know we'll get to our end of the year awards, but if we had an unsung hero award, I'll be putting them
right up there, yeah.
I'll be putting them in there because they're on TV on both shows all the time. They have good matches, they have funny segments, they have serious segments. You can put them anywhere and they do a great job. Yeah. And they were perfect for this because obviously the relationship between Gable and Angle in the past. You've got the stuff with Jason Jordan as well in there, the Olympic stuff.
Yeah, it just all fits.
It all fits. Yeah. And then obviously them being sort of cocky heels and telling them to shoosh and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously the end segment was a bit of fun.
The milk soaking taking you back to 2001 or whatever it was when he did the milk in the ring. And again, just a perfect two guys to be taking it. You know, they're overacting. They're going about OTT. Otis looks mental, but if there's anyone on the roster I want to see soaked in milk, it's Otis. Like it's just the funniest person you could do it to. So yeah, just worked really well.
Yeah, it's just a nice throwback. It was just fun segments that didn't really mean anything, but it was entertaining to watch. So there's no complaints for me on that sense. And you know, it's quite nice to have Angle appear on the show. It's quite nice to have different characters, legends appearing. I know we've got John Cena coming in a couple of weeks, haven't we? Is it? No, it's not this week. I think it's maybe. I think it's 2 weeks time.
December 30th.
Yeah, so 2 weeks time.
Yeah.
John Cena is going to be on the show, so you know, it's good to get sort of a few different people involved in angles and storylines, and just if it's a one-off segment. So yeah, really looking forward to that as well. But yeah, this was fun. Yeah.
We opened the show with a tag team title match between Butch and Sheamus and the Usos. Decent match. Usos retain. I don't know if there's much else to this one.
No, I mean,
obviously Drew was injured, so couldn't.
Yes, compete. I was going to say the reason obviously this match happened was Drew was not medically cleared, which is a bit of a shame because I think I would have preferred to have seen Sheamus and Drew because we've seen the Brutes go against the Usos quite a lot anyway.
Yeah, we had Butch and Ridge against the Usos on a Raw a few weeks back. We've had
it 2 or 3 times, haven't we? But yeah, the match was all right. They won with the 1D, I think, didn't they? In the end. Yeah, it was all right, and there wasn't a lot else to say. Like you say, I mean, Drew, I think had, you know, there was talk about Roman having a burst eardrum or something. Apparently, Drew had the same thing, which is weird. So I don't know what happened in that War Games match, but yeah, eardrums were getting burst all over the place. But I think he'll be back soon. I hope he's back, you know, Rumble time, because, you know, it's not a nice. I think Roman's back on SmackDown this week, so it's obviously not. I don't think it's anything major, but I think that was what it was. And
I don't know how much burst eardrum. I don't know how long that would keep you out for. Not massive amounts of time. No. But we get an interesting backstage segment here where Jay took Sammy aside and said, you know, if I was you, I'd cut your hair and kind of sharpen up for next week. So
yes,
God knows what that's leading to tomorrow night on SmackDown.
Wow.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it, and it feels like Sammy's going to be dressed like how he was when he was a face, with his short hair more as well. And I don't know. I feel like something big's going to happen. And I did show you guys a tweet that happened just before we went on from I can't remember the guy's name now, but he's the lead creative director of long-term booking in WWE. He's worked for like Disney and Marvel and companies like that before. He's a very talented guy. Rob somebody, isn't it? Rob Fee, that's his name. He tweeted saying SmackDown is one you don't want to miss this week. So I'm pretty sure they've got something big up their sleeve, and I'm assuming it's going to be to do with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn.
It makes sense, yeah.
I mean, it could be to do with Bray Wyatt or somebody else, but I first I thought, oh, maybe John Cena. Then I realized it wasn't this week. It's another 2 weeks till John Cena. But yeah, I think it's going to be to do with that, because it was weird that Jey Uso told him to, you know, smarten up and everything. I feel like a big segment's coming. Yeah,
that definitely means something. And just I don't know what Roman's doing on SmackDown. I don't know what's advertised. He's just appearing. Roman appears, yeah. So,
but they said there's a big night in store for Sami Zayn. So. And they've advertised that as that as well. And WWE have advertised that. So I think something is going to happen this week, whether it's a turn finally or, you know, or something else. But I mean, the rumored match for the Royal Rumble was KO and Roman. I think we're going to build to that. And then
makes sense.
Potentially. And then we've got Elimination Chamber in Montreal. And you just got to feel that that's going to be Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. And the crowd will be mad for it in Canada. That I can't wait. If they do that, that is going to be mental. And obviously, Sammy probably won't win, but the crowd, it'll be like when Drew faced Roman in the UK. It'll be the same thing.
Yeah,
but maybe even more mad. So I can't wait for how this is all going to unfold up to WrestleMania. It's so exciting. It's the best thing in wrestling right now. It's 100% the best thing in WWE, but I think it's the best thing in wrestling full stop. And I'm loving every minute they're on screen at the moment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. Are you also loving this Liv, Ronda, Shayna, Tegan Knox stuff we got on this show? We had a tag team match between them.
Yeah.
which Liv and Tegan Nox won thanks to Raquel's interference. And there was
we
like
haven't really
a bit
spoken
of
about
backstage
Tegan Nox
stuff.
coming back yet, have we?
No, yeah, she returned last week. Did she, or the week before?
And we didn't do a pod last week, so
no. Yeah, this is one of those returns which is a filler return. That's kind of how
I really like Tegan, but I think
she's
just
fine,
her coming back randomly here with Liv is a a bit random.
There's no.
They're trying to make it make sense,
history.
but I don't think there's enough there. Pairing her with Shotzi would have made. Obviously, she was with Shotzi before when she got released. That would have made more sense. But it gives Liv something to do. And obviously, they're having a tag title match this Friday, aren't they, against Damage Control? And obviously, Tegan's got a lot of history with Dakota, so I like that.
Yep.
But in terms of the stuff with Ronda and Shayna, it was just okay. Raquel come down, didn't she?
Yeah, and I think we're heading towards Raquel v Ronda.
Yeah, that's the rumored match for the Royal Rumble, I think. So yeah,
I know we've had it before for the title, didn't we? When Raquel's like first match or something.
Yeah, it was early on in Raquel's sort of call up,
and it was really good showing from Raquel.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I think it's a decent enough match for now.
I think it's kind of one of the only ones that actually could interest me because there is that like size and power advantage of Raquel. Like Ronda, she should just run for everyone on the roster, but Raquel's one of them. You think actually maybe I can see how Raquel can beat Ronda. So
yeah,
it's one they can work. I mean, I clambered for it for ages. This Ronda and Shayna team. Now it's here. It's just really weird. They're both acting weird, is how I would describe it.
But I think I'd prefer it if they were just an actual tag team rather than, Ronda having the belt and Shayna just kind of being a lackey. It doesn't feel like they're equals or even like, I don't know. It just feels a bit stupid.
And they're trying to do like we mentioned the Mean Girl thing with Mandy and stuff. They're trying to be mean girls and like bully people, and it's just not really working. I want them to be like absolute cutthroat killers. That's what I want them to be, but they're trying to be a bit more like school ground bullies. It feels like it's just not.
Yeah, really... and even here, like Shayna lost the match.
Yeah, Shining Wizard.
I know you're obviously putting Liv and Tegan over, but the thing is, there's no other teams for them to beat in the build up to their title match. So they had to beat somebody, and they were the only team available. But really, you wouldn't want Shayna and Ronda losing.
No.
Because that's what I mean. Like Shayna still doesn't feel like a big enough deal for me.
No, exactly. And if the overall end goal is Shayna v Ronda, then you're not booking Shayna very strong.
No. I'd rather they both kept really strong.
Yeah.
And then have Shayna versus Ronda down the line if that's the end goal, which it may well be, but they might have a tag title run. I'm not sure.
Yeah, who knows?
I prefer to see them have a tag title run then split rather than Ronda have the main title.
I agree. Yeah, I want Ronda to lose a belt and them to just be tag champs. I'd have them as dominant tag champs. I can beat everyone. Yeah. I've got no problem with that. But yeah, what do you make of Lacey Evans? We've probably asked this question many times before.
I just don't care at this point.
She is being repackaged again.
It's no offense. It's no offense to Lacey. I think she's okay, but. Like, we've had all this stuff before where she was, how many times have they repackaged her and it never goes anywhere?
They've repackaged her at least 3 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and even before that, like when she first came up to the main roster, do you remember she was just coming out and then walking to the back? And like for ages, it just goes nowhere. And then she'll have like one match lose.
Wasn't it, I think, when she did
and
that.
Then you had the Ric Flair stuff. That was bizarre. Like, there's been all sorts of weird... And at this point, I just do not care. I'm sorry about that, Lacey, but it's not her fault. But
I know, and it's someone we've seen plenty of times in the ring. Like the end goal of Lacey Evans' repackage is still Lacey Evans. Like they're not repackaging her too different. It's like, oh yeah, she's an army.
Yeah, she's still like a Marine, isn't she?
Who likes the fans? And a Marine who doesn't like the fans. Now she's going to be a Marine who likes the fans. And it's like, but she's still a Marine. Like you're just repackage her in the exact same gimmick. Yeah. Like it's just not very.
I've no idea who she's going to feud with or anything. I don't know.
I don't think they know. We said this before when they tried to do it. I don't think they know what they're doing with her. And she's one of those where. She might be better off just having a little NXT run, just one of those, just to move down, go to NXT, just like Mandy Rose did, just kind of freshen herself up a bit, because she is going nowhere. We'll see when she eventually reappears in front of an audience, but I predict it'll be exactly the same again for Lacey.
Yeah, I agree with you. What else was there on this show? So there was.
It's probably actually my skid mark of the week actually here.
Oh, here we go. I haven't given my skid mark and top mark much thought.
Yeah,
so
I might
end up agreeing with you because I don't know what you're going to say.
Yeah, but I didn't like this, but the contract signing between Gunther and Ricochet, that in itself, I haven't got a problem with. I quite like contract signings. They're
I think they're a bit lazy.
They're usually formulaic, but they serve a purpose. Get the challenger and champ a bit of time on the mic. My issue is the New Day coming down to back up Ricochet. Doesn't really make any sense. They haven't got too much beef with Imperium. They haven't ever really been aligned to Ricochet. Just felt a bit random anyway. And then just the New Day's humor, just God, talking about
I don't mind
Gunther performing. I was like, what is this? This is like 12-year-old humor. I was like, God, what? To me, this is in the realms of Miz.
I enjoyed them more on NXT.
The Miz has tiny balls. Yeah, that's the thing. On their NXT run feels a bit fresh. Just if it was me, I would actually have them as singles at this point. I wouldn't have them break up. I would just have them both doing their own things singly. Maybe you move one to Raw, leave one on SmackDown or something. I don't know, but as a team on the main roster, they have grown beyond stale. And I know Krusty's not a fan.
I love the New Day individual. I love every member of the New Day individually.
I don't like them as a group though. I don't like them.
And I do like them as a group, but they do need something different. And I like the fact they went to NXT and won the tag titles, and that does feel a bit fresh. But I agree with you on the sense that there's nothing for them to do on SmackDown if they as a tag team. I'd like to see Woods maybe try and go because he's not had his moment. I'd like to see him go for his. Go after Gunther would be quite good.
He did have his King of the Ring, didn't he?
He did, but it was so short-lived. Obviously, Kofi's had his moment, but you can have him try. He never tried to get it back. Like I'd love him trying. On a random episode. You could do it on a random episode of SmackDown where he's just like, I should be a champion. I want to go after Roman Reigns. Like, just really get serious for a week or two.
Yep. The New Day work when they're serious. We've seen it. There's 3 examples there. Big E, when he had his run as champ, he was pretty serious for a while. Kofi,
I do think they work as funny as well, but it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. And I think
their humor is outdated.
I think they've been doing it too long. That's the thing.
I think they were funny 5 years ago. I don't think they're funny in 2022. To me, maybe it's just me growing up. I don't know. Maybe they're still funny to 20-year-olds. I don't know, 18-year-olds. I don't know, but.
I think they have sometimes they have some good bits, but this wasn't particularly. I didn't hate it. I'm not going to skip honestly, it, but I
one of those when he said about the Gunther's performance. I can't remember what it was now, but something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't able to perform because we said we're not performers. Where I loved Gunther's promo, by the way, where he said we're not performers, we're professional wrestlers.
Gunther's such a serious guy, just having this idiot say this to him. I'm like, oh, piss off. But
I think that's the idea, isn't it? Like they're so serious, and then you make them a joke.
I'm meant to be on Kofi's side here. I'm completely. I'm like, nah, go away. You're an idiot. Like this guy's a serious professional wrestler. You're being an idiot. I know. It just didn't work for me. This segment didn't like it. It made me less excited for Ricochet v Gunther.
Yeah, Ricochet kind of felt like a bit of an afterthought, to be honest. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with the New Day. They tend to dominate the scene they're in. So, like I say, Ricochet's the challenger, and Ricochet's like a background. Like he's not important at all in this because it's about New Day being idiots. And it's just a silly segment. And we also got a silly 6-man tag afterwards. Predictably,
that was a fun match. To be fair.
No, it is.
Obviously, in the ring, they're all brilliant.
Yeah,
so it was a good match. And New Day and Ricochet won, didn't they, with pin on Kaiser?
Yeah, Ricochet with a shooting star press for the win.
Yeah, that was all fine, but it was a bit random. What else did we have? Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio injury thing, and him basically telling them about a story about an old horse that he put out of his misery, basically implying that that's Ray. Obviously, we're getting a cross Ray feud, which I think is okay.
I think it's neither of them were doing too much, so it kind of just works for them. The kind of origin of the feud feels completely forced. It just doesn't feel like a natural feud.
No,
it just feels like someone has literally sat there and said, okay, who's free? Ricochet, Ray and Karrion Kross. Let's just have Karrion Kross.
I don't really get what happened to the Madcap Moss stuff, because I thought we were getting Emma and sort of Scarlett involved in this feud.
Yeah.
And it seems to have just been completely dropped, which is a real shame, because they've brought Emma back, and I think she had a great open start with a really good match against Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
And then since that, she's done absolutely nothing. It's a real shame.
That feels like a bit of a pointless one. Now we're here, and I'll worry in 3 weeks' time is this. I think like Tegan Knox was like, oh yeah, she had a good start, and then we didn't see her for a while. Hopefully not, but
I think if she's paired with Liv, she's got more of a chance, because
I guess
Liv's always on TV. I think the thing with Emma is they've paired her with Madcap, and Madcap doesn't get on TV every week either. So it's like you just kind of they're lower mid card, really.
Yeah,
and I think Emma could be used better than that, considering the
100%.
Singles division on SmackDown's women's side is not strong. So
no,
you could definitely use her, do something else with her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We got some more developments in LA Knight and Bray.
Yeah.
Again, this is a very slow moving story, but I think it kind of has to be if we want to push it through to the next pay-per-view. It's got to take its time, and you need small developments each week. I guess I like the fact that LA Knight isn't backing down. Like he's completely just facing up Bray, whereas like you'd expect a kind of heel to be that kind of chicken shit heel and just be scared and run away and oh no, where's Bray? But he's like actively looking for him. I quite like that. And
I think that
he come up with like actual evidence. He's like, look at that mask there when I got attacked. And like,
I think they're not making him look stupid.
He's being logical, and he's being like brave and to the point.
What I loved as well is this is the first time in the ring he cut a promo as LA Knight, sort of in a segment on his own. He's been in there with Bray, but he just went out there and he cut a really good promo, and I think they've used him really well so far. I do want the match to come soon, because I feel like Bray has been back for so long. I mean, LA Knight's had a couple of matches, but Bray just hasn't wrestled, and I feel like soon you're going to have to get him in the ring. I know we want to reveal the Uncle Howdy stuff. I'm still intrigued by it. I still like it.
Yeah, I've got no idea still. But,
I do want it to come to some sort of conclusion soon. But I am enjoying this feud. I love both guys, and I do think they're cutting really good promos. So yeah, I'm still interested at the moment, but I don't know if they can drag it out, because I thought they were going to do the match at Survivor Series, and then dragging it out to Rumble, which is another 9 weeks from Survivor Series, is quite a long time. I know Bray's creative and they can keep doing little bits here and there, but it's a lot to ask.
I wonder if people will still be excited when we hit a few 5 weeks down the line, whether people are still into this feud if they keep doing what they're doing. But at the moment, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I got from SmackDown was that weird three-way tag feud we've got between Legado, Viking Raiders, and Hit Row. I think it was Legado versus Viking Raiders, and Hit Row came down.
Yes, causing a double DQ.
That's kind of happened a few times now with these three.
And they're getting a triple threat match this week.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, cool. I guess if it's a number one contender match, then that makes it, I think they should put something on, because this match feels like a really pointless, random feud, this one, to me.
Yeah, I do wonder where, because they're all they're two-man team. Well, Legado's actually a three-man.
Yeah, three.
But
they've all got female.
Yeah, the point I was making is they've all got women valets almost. So I feel like we might get more involvement in them. We might get a triple threat with them as well. It gives them something to do. It's all right. I think the Viking Raiders have been, they look really good.
Yeah, I feel like Viking Raiders feel a bit above this. They feel like they should be
But I do think Legado are great as well. So,
yeah, maybe it's just Hero then. But yeah,
Hero don't feel particularly special right now. unfortunately. But
they feel like I mean, not quite maximum male models level, but they're closer to that level of the spectrum than they are the top end of the spectrum right now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Should we move on to Raw? I think that's it from SmackDown, isn't it?
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about Alexa Bliss and the women's division. So last week we had those 2 triple threat matches, which were great, by the way, both of them. I quite liked that idea of 2 triple threat matches. Next week having a number one contenders match,
a little mini tournament almost.
Yeah, and I don't know about you because obviously we didn't do last week. I don't think we really discussed it, but I predicted, I think the outcome that we got of Alexa and Bailey winning and Alexa beating Bailey. That's what I predicted when those matches.
I thought that Alexa was going to win in the end. I didn't necessarily think who she was going to beat, but I said a couple of weeks ago that I think Bianca's next feud will be Alexa, with Alexa turning heel. And
we got a glimpse of that. We got a glimpse.
She went to put her in her sister Abigail and then snapped out of it.
But the Bray Wyatt thing again, it's definitely linked to Bray Wyatt because it's his logo.
It is weird because they're on separate brands. There's no actual interaction between Bray and Alexa, but
and there's nothing the other way. There's no like Alexa hints on Bray. No, it's only one way, so it's
very
weird.
Strange. But I feel like they can't get away from this Bray Alexa character, and I want them to get away from that personally. I'd rather see the goddess heel Alexa Bliss than Fiend Alexa Bliss or whatever she was. Like I don't really care about that anymore. I feel like we've just been done to death. Well, I do want to see Alexa as a heel though, because I think she's better as a heel.
Yeah. Well, would you buy a scenario where Alexa comes out next week as the goddess heel Alexa, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I was just acting. I was just using the Bray stuff to like as mind games or something." But maybe she could say that and be like, "Yeah, I was just acting. I was never in a trance."
Maybe, but I feel like we're doing a bit of a slow burn with the heel turn anyway. I don't think it's necessarily going to come next week. I think we might get it like the week before the match happens.
Yeah, but a heel Alexa against Bianca. Yeah,
so like we're going to keep getting teasers of it.
Yeah, and then you've got like the secondary feud of Bailey Becky. Like it's Raw's.
Yeah,
and you've got whatever's happening with Asuka. We'll get onto Asuka as well, but
and then you've still got people like Mia Yim involved in stuff, and
Mia and Rhea are doing their stuff. There's a lot on Raw.
Yeah,
the women's division on Raw actually is insanely stacked. When you actually lay out the names,
LeRae,
Dakota, Io in the tag division. Like Nikki Nikki Cross is there somewhere as well.
Well, she was lurking in the background on Candice's interview this week.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't actually notice at the time.
I didn't notice that.
When she was talking to Dexter Loomis. So yeah.
Okay.
Johnny.
Yeah. So I mentioned briefly there, but do you have any ideas what's going on with Asuka? She came out with no face paint this week.
No, but her Twitter has been really, really interesting. She's
lost the match to Rhea on Raw.
She has basically been putting pictures up of like her in her old sort of evil clown gimmick that she used to have in Japan when she was called Kana. She posted some other stuff as well, like implying that a character's done or whatever.
Is she going heel?
I don't know if she's going heel or she's just having a gimmick change. It might be a bit like the Tozawa situation where he kind of killed off his gimmick and then come back with his old gimmick.
Old Tozawa.
And I feel like with Asuka, they might be going down a similar route. She did use the mist this week, which is obviously something she's been doing more recently, obviously into Dominic's eyes. Dominic's acting, not the best.
I thought he sold it all right, actually. At
the time, I think the backstage segment afterwards wasn't particularly good. But Asuka's very interesting. I think she looks kind of better like that, how she looked this week. Yeah. She's a great wrestler. It'd just be interesting to see, because really on the main roster, she's never had a very different character. It's always been...
She's been the same Asuka from day one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think nothing's really changed. Even heel version of her isn't really much different to the face version.
So I feel like we could get something very different, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes. She lost again this week to Rhea. So she's on a bit of a losing streak as well, which is obviously probably going to further her going spiraling out of control, I'm assuming, which I'm all for. But yeah, the women's division, you're right, on Raw is quite interesting. They had, I think, 2-3 matches this week, and they were all kind of interesting matchups.
We got Candice Dakota.
Yeah,
and I think got Candice Io this week, haven't we? Coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's that way around we had it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. What was it this week?
No, sorry, EO this week. Yeah, EO beat Candice.
One thing I was going to say in this match, but in the show in general, is this crowd was terrible. This week it was so quiet, and during the women's matches especially.
Yeah, there's been a few weeks recently where the crowd has just been dead.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the time of year. I don't know if it's the fact that there's so many sort of new people on the roster and people don't know all of them. I don't know if it's just, I don't know what it is, but at the moment it seems very, very quiet. It's a little bit concerning, but like at the pay-per-views and stuff are still really loud. SmackDown, they're normally okay. It seems to be on Raw where the issues happen. I think it's the length of the show all the time as well. People are waiting for the big match because they obviously had the main event of Lashley and Rollins, and then you've got all these matches in the middle that people just aren't caring about, and that's the problem, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. But we should probably talk about that main event then. We've mentioned it there. Seth and Bobby Lashley, #1 contenders match. Again, it's always interesting when they do this because we've just had a triple threat match with these two and the champion. So they have a #1 contender match of the two people and then the champion.
Yeah.
But it probably went the way it should have gone. Seth got the win.
Yeah, Seth needed a win here, I think.
He did. I mean, Lashley seemed pretty strong. So this is one of those matches I actually thought wasn't going to get a finish. So I'm glad it did. I thought it was just going to be like a silly Theory coming out and doing something and then, I don't know, another triple threat.
I thought we might see Dolph Ziggler based on the promo we saw just before it as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the match, this was probably the best match on the show. I'll get to. Yeah, I have got a top mark little thing actually, which I'll get to in a minute. But the match was good. As you'd expect, like you say. There's a ref bump in there as well, and in the end, Seth won with a pedigree, which is cool.
Yep.
But the interesting thing really come afterwards with Lashley attacking officials, and then Adam Pearce hastily firing him, which I think he has now reversed.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay.
Twitter. Yeah, there was some Twitter video he put up yesterday. I didn't watch it, but apparently it was him basically. I was like, it's a bit hasty.
Okay, yeah. I was going to ask, what do you think is good next for Lashley? I thought maybe they move Lashley to SmackDown. Maybe
I thought either they put him on SmackDown or this leads to the Hurt Business sort of coming back, and like Cedric, Shelton, and Bobby like running riot on Raw or something like that. That's what I hope it leads to. I hope next week. Bobby Lashley turns up to Raw and he's like, okay, you're not fired, but you are suspended because you can't put your hand on an official or something. Yeah. And then he goes into the locker room and he talks, he sees Shelton and Cedric just sort of sat there doing nothing like they always are.
Yeah.
And he's just like, right, guys, let's
reform Hurt Business.
Yeah, let's just like cause a chaos, and then they just go around beating people up. That's what I want to see. Because I think I miss the Hurt Business as a group, and I just think it'd be a good use for Cedric and Shelton, but whether that's where it goes, I don't know. I don't think so. But it is intriguing. It's an intriguing. I don't know what they're going to do with Lashley now because there's no world title on Raw. There's no. He's one of those people that he has to have like big important feuds. Like he's either feuding with Brock or he's in a title match normally. Like, that's his thing.
His current feud feels with Adam Pearce. So or just authority in general. So I don't really know what. Yeah.
It's interesting to see where it goes.
It is intriguing, and
obviously Seth will get his rematch with Theory, which will be good. I'm assuming Theory will retain again because what's the point of hot potato the title back onto Seth? Which means Seth will have to lose a match somewhere along the line, and that'll be fine, I'm sure. And then, and Theory is interesting because you mentioned this before that he seems to feud with a lot of people at once and piss off a lot of people at once.
Yeah, he's always also got at least 2-3 feuds.
He's been feuding with Dolph like kind of for months.
Yeah,
and again, Dolph here in a suit backstage just cut a really good promo on what the US title means to him and told Theory to watch his back. So he's obviously not done with this either. So does he get added to this match? Maybe.
Well, I don't know because also you got last week. Ali v Theory, which Dolph interrupted, so Ali never actually got his clean match. So Ali's got to keep doing this with Ali, though. Ali's got a claim to the title as well. So
it wouldn't surprise me if Dolph gets added, and that could be a way to not have Seth lose because Dolph will take the pin.
Yeah,
I think it wouldn't surprise me if at the Royal Rumble you do Dolph versus Seth versus.
I mean, I wonder whether we're actually building up to the way they're doing it with Theory, whether they're just building up to like a big 6-man ladder match or something for the title.
They'll just have Chamber.
Chamber, yeah, just
That's
have
a 6-man match, isn't it?
Ali, Ziggler, Lashley, Rollins, Theory, and
it would make
throw
sense because I think you need like some sort of title match on that show because you're not going to have the main title on the line.
I mean, those 5 names I've just mentioned, obviously one of them's Theory, the champion, but the other 4 have genuine claims for the title.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you could easily find a 6th person. Like,
yeah, of course,
you know, Finn Balor, someone just gets involved. I don't know. Like, it's easily done. So, yeah. But what I do like is they are keeping the title as the most important thing. And
yes,
everyone wants the title, and they're all saying how much, you know.
And they're main eventing the shows with either the number 1 contenders matches or the title matches or the champion. And it is like the top, like Lashley and Seth are 2 years top guys on the roster. Theory, they're clearly making into that as well. So you're using top guys, and Ziggler, I mean, he's not a top guy now, but he's a person that everyone knows. So they're using top stars as well with it here. So I like what they're doing with the US and the IC title, to be honest. Although the IC title, they did turn it into a bit of a comedy show this week.
Yeah, this week it was an off week for the IC, but
yeah, it's still overall been booked very well.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a great Ricochet Gunter match.
The match will be great. We've seen it before and it was good, but yeah. Go
on.
What should we move on? Shall I just do my top mark because it's only a small thing?
Yeah, go on.
It's the Kevin Owens Elias segment. I said when Elias come back, they have to do something with the KO. They can't just put that under the carpet and pretend it never happened. And I love the fact because obviously KO teamed with Riddle last week because Elias was injured because he has. They both have beef with the bloodline. So obviously Riddle is now gone. He's injured, although we know why. So Elias asked Kevin Owens for his help because he helped Riddle last week, and then KO just goes off on one. And he's like, "Do you think I've forgotten?" And I was like, "Thank God we're doing it." He's not just yeah, sure, I'll help you. And I loved the long term. And Kevin Owens is, I swear, every Kevin Owens storyline has this, or promo or segment where he remembers things from. It could have happened 5 years ago, but he'll bring it up.
Yeah, he is a proper
long-term storyteller.
Yeah, he just gets what's going on. Yeah, he's so invested in his character. Yeah.
Yes, and so I loved the segment between them two. Then Elias does a song which I really enjoyed as well. I like
about Riddle, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was a babyface kind of song about it. He didn't get interrupted for ages as well, so he did like a full song. I miss Elias doing that because I think that's what he was great at. And he got a massive reaction. The crowd, like I said, the crowd was quiet all show here, apart from just Seth, Becky, and we missed out Becky's bit at the start. But Seth, Becky, and a couple of other little bits, they were excited. The rest of the show, they were dead. But Elias, they really popped for, and they were singing along and doing the walk with Elias. So he gets a reaction, and that's what I like about him. And then obviously we've got Elias versus Solo. Well, the match was okay. He wins with a spinning solo. And then afterwards, they're going to do the same thing that they did to Riddle with the chair. And KO does make the save. Stunners Solo, because I think we're still getting the KO Reigns build. But importantly, he still stunned Elias anyway.
Yeah.
So I love that because KO isn't like, oh, I'm friends with all the baby faces. He's going to help him, but he's also going to remind him what he did. And KO it's similar to what Austin did with the stunners, isn't it? He'd stun at everyone. He wouldn't just stun at heels. He wouldn't just stun. He'd come out and just be like, doesn't matter who you are, you're getting a stunner. And that's how this felt. And I really enjoyed this segment, actually, all of this stuff here. Apart from, the match itself was okay, but the rest of it was great.
Yeah, it was. And I quite like, again, it's a small part of this, but Solo Sikoa is racking up a list of enemies, isn't he? He just destroyed Elias. He's clearly got he destroyed Riddle last week. He obviously Drew McIntyre still should have beef with Solo. And there's a few times now Solo's just like destroying people. He's he's like kind of the mystery of the bloodline, but he has his own little thing going on where he's just destroying people and making people have like proper beef with him. So I think Solo's doing a really good job, and I really like the spinning Solo as a finisher as well. I will say that.
Yeah,
I quite enjoyed that as a finisher. Move. Yeah, quite enjoy that. And we're getting a Solo v Kevin Owens match next Raw or something probably.
Yeah, for sure that's going to happen at some point. What else was there on this show?
The Miz, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, our favorite storyline.
Yeah.
Again, with the money. They picked up loads of merch and come to the ring and started giving out merch to people. Then Miz comes out, and then you got Adam Pearce come out, all to set up a ladder match next week between Loomis and the Miz. I mean,
that should be it now, surely.
A ladder match with Cash at the top, where Loomis puts up his and then Miz.
It's double or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like the concept of that match, but this storyline is just gone on too long, really. And the thing is, Johnny's not wrestling enough for me.
No, and John he's also like, I don't mind his humor. I'm actually quite a fan of his humor. I mean, in general, I haven't enjoyed it the last few weeks. Didn't enjoy this week, particularly Gargano. Feud should be Gargano v The Miz, and I think it kind of is, but Loomis is just like in the middle, weirdly. But he's also kind of, it's really Loomis and The Miz. It's a bit of a messy story, this one. I think it's just a bit.
It's going to be interesting next week, this ladder match, because obviously Johnny's going to be helping Dexter.
Yeah,
and I saw a theory the other day which could be quite interesting. Do you think Miz is going to call like an old friend to come help him?
Well, this only works in my head if Ciampa is back with The Miz, and there's obviously the Ciampa Gargano history.
I think
isn't it?
I heard someone else mention the other day that John Morrison could come in here. If they wanted to do it, turn it into a tag feud of sorts.
That would just prolong the feud, though.
It would just
someone else in, yeah.
Ciampa would make a lot of sense, but I don't think he's ready to come back. So,
and if the overall end was we just get a Ciampa Gargano main roster,
like an feud,
a main roster feud, because we haven't had that on the main roster before.
But then
there are a lot of people.
Eventually would be
or even that, and you just get Ciampa and Gargano team up.
Yeah,
that's like whatever end goal comes out of it. Ciampa.
I just don't know what Dexter Loomis does afterwards, because he's just one of those characters that it's got a short shelf life a little bit. Once he's done, I know he'll move on to another feud, but he doesn't cut promos. He will just do the same thing, though. He will do the same thing. I know, but it just gets boring.
He's very one-dimensional, yeah.
It just gets boring after a while. I like him, but
unless he is usually a face, though. I wouldn't mind him.
The thing is, he needs someone with him to like talk for him a little bit, because you need some sort of context. But that's a waste of Johnny. That's my issue with it.
It is, yeah.
It's called Johnny Wrestling, not Johnny Cuts Promos.
Yeah, Johnny makes jokes. Whatever.
Yeah.
We mentioned Chad Gable already today, but he had a good match with
with AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. When this match was announced, I was like, this is going to be a banger.
Yeah.
And AJ beat Gable, probably not too much.
No,
this one.
Interesting thing, little note from this is obviously no Carl Anderson, because he's in Japan, actually defending his Never Openweight Championship.
And they mentioned it, didn't they? They kind of mentioned
it. They did mention it. And it's just weird to see. Like, it's just so rare that a guy's not there because he's wrestling for someone else. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, in WWE, it never happens.
It just does not happen.
Because isn't Shinsuke wrestling for another company as well?
He is. Yeah, in January.
That's interesting.
He's doing nothing in WWE at the moment. So
literally nothing. Yeah.
But if they keep doing stuff like this, it'll be so much better, I think, for the talent, particularly for I don't watch the other promotions that much, so I'm not as bothered. But for the talent, it's surely going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's what they want, and there are a decent sized fan base who watch everything and will love the fact that Nakamura is appearing on some other promotion somewhere else. So
yeah.
The only thing I've got from the show was the Judgment Day beating the Street Profits and Akira Tozawa in a trio I never thought I'd see. Tozawa and the Profits.
You know what? Tozawa's in his old gimmick, and he seems to be enjoying himself.
I like seeing Tozawa have a little.
And he's actually wrestling properly. He's not comedy wrestling. Like, he's still kind of funny, but he's actually wrestling now. Fair play to him. It's good for him. This match was okay. Not a lot to say about it.
No, there's not too much on it. No,
it was all right.
Yeah, Judgment Day picking up a win. I haven't got it here, but I'm assuming Tozawa got pinned.
He did get pinned by Dominic, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because they gave Dominic the pin. I think Balor basically won the match, and then Dominic got the pin. But yeah, there's not too much. I mean, there was a couple of really good things this week, but at the moment it is quite. It's always a lull period in the Christmas period, and then it ramps up a couple of weeks before the Rumble. Really, normally. So that's why we're doing the content differently.
Yeah, there hasn't been too much Rumble itself. I think, was it Kofi's the only one announced?
Yeah,
for the
Kofi's
Rumble?
the only person announced so far for the Royal Rumble, and well in advance.
Yeah.
And he's always going to be in the Rumble to do like a crazy spot. So.
Also, as he's a current NXT champion, it feels a bit. Yeah, but I guess who knows if he's going to be champion by the Rumble? Maybe not.
Maybe not. Might lose to Brooks and Jensen next week, and I don't see that happening somehow.
Yeah, maybe. maybe not.
No, it's not going to happen, is it?
Nah.
I think that's it then, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got anything else from Raw?
I think that's it. I
think we've covered it all.
I think we've covered everything. So obviously keep an eye on our Twitter for any updates that we post. We will be doing predictions again in a new year, starting with the Royal Rumble probably.
Oh, yeah.
We have posted our winner, RM Punk, his t-shirt. Yeah. Hopefully you should get it soon. Follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle. Like and subscribe here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out our podcast, find us on the Recharge Wrestling Network as well. And we'll see you soon, hopefully for an end of year review and maybe a quiz or some fun content coming your way soon. See you next week.
See you guys.